Welcome back. A new British medical journal investigation has heard from a whistleblower that was engaged in Pfizer's pivotal COVID-19 vaccine trial. The evidence raises serious questions about the data integrity issues in the Pfizer vaccine. Well, let's get more on this with my good friend, Dr Aseem Malhotra, consultant cardiologist. Happy Diwali, Aseem, first of all.
Happy Diwali to you, Alex, and I think many people don't know you're a Hindu convert yourself.
Well, I do have my Hindu ways about me. It is true. Right, let's talk Pfizer. What is going on here with this BMJ article? It's criticising the actual vaccine trials of Pfizer.
It's really quite devastating for Pfizer, in my view. So what's come out in this BMJ investigation is a whistleblower at one of the Pfizer vaccine sites involved in the pivotal trial that was involved in ultimately making policies on rolling out their vaccine, has said that essentially on one of those sites there was evidence of falsifying data, not following up on adverse events. And what's made worse by this, Alex, is that the whistleblower contacted the regulator, the FDA in America, and they didn't do anything about it. Paul Thacker, the investigative journalist for the BMJ, said also, he said, where is the FBI? Why is there not a criminal investigation going into this? So this is very concerning. But let's just take a step back for a second. For me, as a doctor, as an activist, someone who's looked at research integrity over many years, it's not really that surprising, even though it's shocking, because if you look at the history of drug companies generally, there has been a problem for a very long time with corruption of data, hiding data on harms, not sharing data, which then means that doctors and patients are basically having to make decisions on biased information. And when I say that this hasn't been rectified, I mean, that's the other issue. Between 2009 and 2014, for example, most of the top 10, without naming an individual company, most of the top 10 pharmaceutical companies paid a total of $13 billion in fines for criminal activity, which involved hiding data on harms, illegal marketing of drugs, for example, and there's nothing that's been done. The BMJ pointed out this before. Nothing's been done to rectify the situation. Now, let's just talk, because I don't want this discussion to become into one where people watching it suddenly saying the vaccine doesn't work, we shouldn't take it. Let's just put things in context. It's really important. So, from a personal perspective, if you go back to earlier this year, I had the vaccine. I've had both doses. Why did I have it as a doctor? Well, I'm a doctor, and I was sold on the idea, Alex, from the original Pfizer trial, that this vaccine would prevent transmission. I am not at very high risk, okay? So for me, people in middle age, COVID, for someone like me, is equivalent to having the flu in terms of its risk. So I was doing it to protect others. I've had many vaccines before in the past, and I do that to protect my patients. We now know, it's very clear, that the vaccine does not have any significant effect on preventing transmission. Now, why is that important? It changes the whole conversation. Only this week, Sajid Javid has said that he's going to make sure that all NHS workers should be vaccinated and make a mandate for that, despite the fact that medical leadership, the chair of the BMA, chair of the medical royal colleges have said this is a very bad idea, and I agree with them. We shouldn't be doing this. It should be about informed consent, because actually, if you mandate these sorts of vaccines, especially on non-transparent data that we know now, and it doesn't stop transmission, it will only widen the chasm of distrust. The other thing to add in as well, Alex, is we know about 105,000 NHS workers have not had the vaccine, not even a single dose, because they are hesitant. Now, if you mandate it and they decide, you know, for good reason, they decide that they don't want to have the vaccine, you're going to lose massive amounts of NHS staff when it's already under pressure. If Sajid Javid wants to destroy the NHS, this is exactly the way to do it. I will say to him, please make a U-turn, row back on this, because this could be very devastating for the NHS.
Well, massively important topic, and thank you for bringing it to our attention, Aseem. Lovely to have you back in the studio.